come right to our service, and it'll be beginning just in a couple of minutes from now. But first, let's make motzi for those of you who are going to be enjoying your Shabbat dinner, and we'll, of course, also unmute and welcome one another after we do so. Please join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. John's got a little itty bitty matzah there. There you go. That's the way that's done. Please feel free to unmute so we can wish each other a Shabbat shalom. Minyan tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. We encourage everybody to come. It's really one of the great jewels of the temple. Enjoy your Shabbat dinner, everybody. And in 1 minute, our Shabbat service will begin on Friday night as well. Much love to you all and Shabbat Shalom. Well, that was fun. Mm-hmm. We have two congregations on Shabbat now. We have the TV one, and then we got the Friday night service one, which is actually a combination of an in-person and a TV one. So, let me just get this mic in a little position for myself. And we'll be good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, tis the season. Everybody's had a lot.
My parents are going to slip.
You'll have no argument for me. You heard me on Erev Rosh Hashanah. I was not unclear about that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is Michael and Terry on the line?
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder how they fuse one.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to hear about it.
When he told me his schedule, I said to him, I'm thinking about it. He's left.
Hey, Nancy, good to see you. Shabbat Shalom.
You know, they left the day after Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah.
And I said, Michael.
Nancy.
Because
Right.
he said, shh, don't tell anyone.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat
And to those of you who
shalom.
are joining us online as well, we wish you a Shabbat Shalom. It is a great pleasure to greet this Friday evening. We're still able to pray outdoors because it was another warm day. I don't know about next Friday. The word on the street about next Friday suggests that it might be a kind of more normal temperate type of, like the high would be in the middle of the day around 70, which would make the evening quite chilly. So we'll probably be in the Beit Midrash next Friday night, but for those who are here in person. But we still have one of the nice things about being in Southern California is keep praying outdoors as long as the weather will allow it. So that's our plan for tonight, and we'll just kind of welcome this Shabbat evening in song, and we invite you to kind of join with us in the words actually can be found in the prayer book on page 10, the very top of the page. You'll find the words of the psalmist, familiar words, Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good, how pleasant it is for us to be together with one another and to welcome this Shabbat evening in fellowship. And so, you know how it goes. It goes like this. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. try that again. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is.
Be
Together on this day.
How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is to be together on this day.
הנה מה טוב.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. שבת אחים, שבת אחים גם יחד. שבת אחים גם יחד.
So we've come to this day in the week. It was a long week. I don't know. Welcome, come on in. And we've come to this time where we get to be here, be in this moment, be here for Shabbat. Kind of put aside everything that happened in the week that was and look forward to a day of hopefully rest and calm and time for yourselves. And I want to share with you this dialogue between, you could say you and God or whoever in God. Hey, God. Hey, John. Me. What is this? God. This is us talking. Me. Or is it just me talking to myself? God. Nope. I'm here. Me. What if you aren't there? God. I am. Me. How am I supposed to know? God. Take my word for it. Me. You mean take my word for it since I'm just talking to myself here? God. Have faith. Me. Easy for you to say. God. Eventually you'll see me. Me. When? God. When the time is right. Me. That's a little vague. God. That's because I'm just so mysterious. Me. I hate mysteries. God. You're going to have to get used to it. Mystery surrounds you. Me. What if these conversations are a sign that I'm going crazy? God. Then at least you'll be able to get that lobotomy your parents always predicted you'd have someday. Me. Super. God. Just keep talking to me. Me. Why? God. So neither of us are lonely. Me. What do you want to talk about? God. Everything. Me. Everything it is. I sometimes have those kinds of conversations with God. And then I say to myself, well, that's what I needed. Just to have someone to listen to. So we get this opportunity to also extend praise and joy and love on this Shabbat. And so we will continue our service on our song sheets, our supplement sheets. At the bottom left of the page as we join together in singing Lechu Neranena.
La 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 Adonai ya la 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 Naharia ya la 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 Litzur Yishenu ya la 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 let us sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. Lechu neranena, yai lai 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 lai, la Adonai, yai lai 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 lai, Naharia, yai lai 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 lai, Litzur Yishenu, yai lai 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 lai, for all of the wonder and all of God's light, we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, yai lai 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 lai, la Adonai, yai lai 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 lai, Naharia, To welcome Shabbat in love is to sing the words of the mystics, L'chadodi, which can be found on pages 20 and 21. We're going to sing the first two verses, top of page 20, then we'll sing the top and bottom verses on page 21. That's verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Ya la 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 l'chadodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 pnei Shabbat, pnei Shabbat dekavela, ya la 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 l'chadodi, ya la 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 likrat kala. Ya la 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 pnei Shabbat, pnei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor midibur echad, yishme'anu el hamiyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shemu tiferet v'litehila. Ya la la, ya la 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 l'chadodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 pnei Shabbat, pnei Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor haberacha, mirosh mikedem nisucha, misof mahaseh b'machshava תחילה. יא לי לי, יא לה 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 לי לך דודי. יא לה 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 לי לקראת כלה. יא לה 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 לי פני שבת, פני שבת נקבל. Top of 21. התעוררי, התעוררי, גבעורך, קומי אורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. יא לה לי, יא לה 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 לי לך דודי. יא לה 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 לקראת כלה. יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה. If you're able, please rise and face the entrance to our outdoor chapel. Mo'i v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha, u'v'tzola, toch emuneh, ham segula. Mo'i chala, mo'i chala. Ya la la, ya la 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 lecha dodi. Ya la 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 likrat kala. Ya la 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 pnei Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat dekavela. Ya la 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 lecha dodi. Ya la 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 likrat kala. Ya la 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 b'nei Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat dekavela. Our call to worship, the Baruch Hu, can be found on page 28. Ya la 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 la, 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 la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam Va'ed, Le'olam Va'ed. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. la, la. Two prayers always situated directly between Baruch Hu and Shema. The first one is an acknowledgement of the wonders of creation. Except in the evening when we acknowledge the wonders of creation, we usually are doing it in the context of what we're experiencing right now, the slow disappearance of light into darkness, of day into night, feeling the chill against our bodies, our eyes adjusting to the arrival of nighttime. And so we say Baruch Atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim to acknowledge the one that creates this sense of order in our lives. Even if we prefer the daytime to the night, it is the very arrival of night that reminds us of that continuous cycle and enables us to situate ourselves in time. That is exactly what we do with these words of blessing. Of course, we also have a second prayer that situates between Baruch Hu and Shema, and that is an acknowledgement of Torah as an expression of God's love for us. And so if we are looking to experience that greater sense of love that we wish to connect to, and God knows we are living through times that leave us reaching for a reminder that there is a greater love than all of this despair and disorientation. We have these words as a reminder and the words of Torah as a reminder. I invite you to join with me in reading on page 32 in English. Let us together give thanks for that everlasting gift of love. Together. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch Atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 34. I am here, I am now, asking when, asking how, only I, only thou, only one.
Fill my heart, fill my soul. I am part of this whole. Only this, only now, only one.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai, Adonai, Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai, Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Leolam, Leolam, Raed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai, Echad.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
In a few moments, we're going to join in singing our prayer of redemption, Micha Melcha, which you can find on page 40 in the prayer book. Before we do that, let's pause and think about what this prayer is supposed to transport us to. Well, we're supposed to be communing with that extraordinary experience of redemption that we study in the Torah. In fact, these words of this prayer come straight out of the Torah, out of Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea, our experience of redemption from Pharaoh's might in Egypt, when extraordinary miracles were worked for us and our Israelite ancestors looked back upon that sea once again closed and just felt the unbelievable awe of seeing, feeling, experiencing liberation in the most profound of ways. It is hard for us to commune with that kind of experience, not only because of the miracles that the story includes. It's hard for us to be able to say, well, I feel things that are miraculous, but are they the parting of seas and the building of pillars of fire and whatnot? It's hard for us to be able to fully imagine within our own lives. But there's another reason why experiencing redemption, liberation in that kind of way feels distant from us, and that's because of the times that we're living through right now. It is difficult for us to connect to a confidence that liberation awaits us, that a feeling of redemption from the things that right now are causing our hearts to feel enslaved, causing our world to feel darker. It's hard for us to be able to always reach magically to these words and have them kindle in us that sense of hope and confidence once again. And so I thought I'd bring to you tonight some words from someone who spoke about being able to dip into that well of hope from a time that was much like this one. And that is to say, it was a time of extraordinary collective consternation in a different land, but in a way that I think should leave us feeling like, you know what, if they could find hope then, we can find our hope now. These words were written by Václav Havel, who was the last leader of Czechoslovakia and also the first leader of the Czech Republic after that revolution ultimately led to liberation. You think they must have had a really hard time being able to believe once again that freedom, liberation, a freedom of self-determination for that land and for that people could be experienced anew. Here is what Havel said at that time, and these words ring especially true for us now. He said that hope is definitely not the same thing as optimism. It is not the conviction that something will turn out well, but the certainty that something makes sense, regardless of how it turns out. The deepest and most important form of hope, he wrote, the only one that can keep us above water and urge us to do good works, and the only true source of the breathtaking dimension of the human spirit and its efforts, is something we get, as it were, from elsewhere. It is this hope above all, which gives us the strength to live. That is what Michamocha is designed to rebirth in us, even in dark times. Let that hope, that confidence, that trust in tomorrow be the voice that we bring to Michamocha on page 40. La 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la la ya la la la. Ya la 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 la. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot oseh peleh. Nora tehilot oseh peleh. Adonai imloch le'olam Malchutecha ra'u banecha, חוקי הים לבני משה ומרים. זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יא לה לה, יא לה לה לה, יא לה לה, יא לה לה. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. If you'll turn back to the supplemental page, the bottom right-hand corner, a prayer for peace and safety in this night. As the darkness surrounds us, let us feel inner light. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'ha'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai, guard us from all harmful things. O Adonai, keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amidah begins on page 46. If you're able, I invite you to stand at this time.
Adonai Sfatai Tiftach Adonai Sfatai Tiftach Ufi Agi Tehiratecha Ufi Agi Tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו משני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Our Amidah continues in silence through page 62. And of course, also our own personal and private prayers as we spend this time in quiet reflection and prayer. I invite you to remain standing or to be seated whenever you're ready.
If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, tell me when. I see I see sorrow and trouble in this land. I see trouble in this land. And although there will be struggle, we'll make the change we can. If not now, tell me when. I may never see the promised land. I may never see the promised land. And yet we'll take the journey. We'll walk it hand in hand. If not now, tell me when. And we'll work until it's done. Every daughter, every son, every soul that's ever longed for something better, something brighter. And it will take a change of heart for this to mend. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. But miracles do happen every shining now and then. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place in time again. If not now, tell me when. And miracles do happen every shining now and then. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when.
So we've rolled all the way back to the beginning of the Torah with our Simchat Torah celebration just this past Sunday night. We completed last year's Torah reading cycle, ending with the final words of the book of Deuteronomy, and then started a new cycle right again with the reading of the first words of Genesis, recounting the creation of the world. And so tonight we begin, and where else to begin than at the beginning? Tonight, the Torah describes for us the beginning of humankind. And it is not a Darwinian rendering of an evolved species over millions of years, of course, designed to teach us about science. It is a religious rendering of the world's first human, Adam, Adam from the Hebrew word Adamah, which means earth. And so this is the story of Adam, the earthling. And it is designed to teach us less about the scientific realities of who we are and more about the spiritual realities of who we ought to be, who we want to be. So as we all know, Adam, was not alone for long in the Garden of Eden. The first man of Western religious tradition survives independently for about 11 sentences in the Torah. Now this tells us something about men that science simply cannot teach. The first ever bachelor makes it on his own for 11 measly verses, less than most 13-year-olds read on their bar mitzvah day. 11 verses, and then suddenly God presumably observes a biblical equivalent of a portrait we all know too well. There's Adam. The dishes are all piled up in the sink. The empty Corona bottles are scattered in every direction. The pizza boxes have still not been brought out to the garbage. His refrigerator is bare except for a cucumber that he put in there a couple of months ago that has turned to liquid. And interpersonally speaking, he is essentially a hermit. He knows that he's lonely, but rather than do anything about it, he is content to watch hours of ESPN by himself. 11 verses are enough for God to wake up. Lo tov heyot adam levado. Maybe it is not such a good idea for this guy to be alone, says God. And with that, we have the arrival of Eve, the first woman of the Torah, making Adam and Eve the Torah's first couple. And what a first couple they are. Not exactly the most finely tuned machine of a marriage. Purportedly, she is created to cure Adam's loneliness and to provide him with a life partnership that is greater than the sum of its parts. What happens instead? Famous story. Fortunately, we all know the answer. Let's just say that the Torah's first couple might have been better off if they had been created after the Torah's first marriage counselor. The serpent, as we know, interferes in their relationship, and Eve is misled, and she misleads her partner into the action that causes them to lose their home, to face suffering that could have been avoided, to fall well short of their dreams. It is the kind of story that plenty of contemporary couples struggle through, but obviously it is nothing new. Adam and Chava, Adam and Eve, were in fact the first to discover that married life is not easy, and their experience together seems to be ripe with lessons for all of us, and not only those of us who are married. You see, we all have personal experiences that connect us to this story, whether it's the partnership of marriage or a partnership in business or any of the other various ways we partner with relatives and close friends. Binding your fate on any important level to another person is simply not a very easy thing to do. And if we believe what the Torah teaches from the very beginning about the bonds we share with those who make us less alone in this world, it appears that those bonds were never intended to be easy. When the first human being was deemed to be too alone, a partner human being was conceived as the solution. He shouldn't be so alone, said God. So I should make for him an ezer kenegdo. That is the Hebrew phrase for what Eve is to become. So what does ezer kenegdo mean? It means a loyal, well, let me ask you first, what do you think it means? Does he think it means a caregiver who will clean up all the beer bottles and stock the fridge? Does it mean a loving companion who will offer security and comfort when we feel most vulnerable? Does ezer kenegdo mean a like-minded soulmate who will see the world as he does and validate his sense of direction? Or maybe it means a generous spirit who understands what he needs and is dedicated to giving it to him. All possible. The truth is, ezer kenegdo doesn't mean any of those things. Ezer kenegdo, even though we would really, those are typically the types of attributes, if you think about it, that we imagine to be among the features of great human partnerships. You might find it strange, but the Hebrew phrase ezer kenegdo literally means a helper over against him. That's literally what God was seeking to create, a helper over against Adam. Suddenly, Adam and Eve's story makes a little bit more sense, does it not? Indeed, Eve was an ezer kenegdo to Adam, the perfect ezer kenegdo for him. She did seem to be pushing back against him from the moment they met. I mean, you can only imagine the big blowout fight that Adam and Eve must have had once it was declared that they were to be exiled forever from Eden. Honey, I can't believe you did that. Well, I didn't exactly see you trying to stop us. Blaming each other, shaming each other. How could a relationship survive such a massive failure as getting thrown out of the garden of perfection? Most partnerships, I would imagine, wouldn't survive such a thing. Most don't survive those types of failures. But this one does. And that would seem to be the lesson. The Torah, searching for an explanation of humanity's essence that science absolutely cannot provide, teaches that all of humankind, all of us, are the product of Adam and Eve and their tension-filled union. There is no human story, no humanity between the two of them if Adam and Eve don't figure out some way to transcend their devastating shared flop. If they simply choose to give up on each other and conclude that maybe it is better to be alone than partnered. Adam and Eve pull it off. And so we're left to ask how. Well, they do it because they're not just kenegdo each other. They're not just over against one another. They're also ezer to one another, helpers. They understand that even amid the tension and the failures and the frustrations, perhaps more so because of them, they understand each other. They are poised to help each other. And so instead of quitting, instead of bidding each other farewell as they left the garden in disgrace, which would certainly have been very easy to justify, they cling to their helpers over against them. They live a long life together about which we know very little, other than the fact that all the generations that follow, you and me, become a part of their legacy. Now, does this mean that our tradition is somehow forbidding us or discouraging us to divorce an ill-suited spouse or dissolve a bad business partnership? Of course not. There are people in our lives who prove to be all kenegdo and no ezer, all over against, no help. But the lesson of Adam and Eve would seem to be that it sometimes requires extra careful looking with a generously open and patient eye to see the ezer, to see the help in all of the challenging partnerships in our lives. The people we know and love don't always make it so easy. Jettisoning someone who presses all those buttons in you while they are busy pushing over and against is always more expedient. Feels good to think of doing that in the moment. But I have to think that Adam would have taken some pretty significant psychic pleasure in telling Eve to take a hike. But he saw the ezer that was still inside her, that he still somehow was able to believe in. And that trust is the only reason that he ended up with descendants. He ended up with us. It affirms that real relationships, even the very best of them, are pretty hard work. One of the great Hasidic masters of the 19th century, Reb Mordechai Yosef, chose to explain the meaning of Ezer Kenegdo not by describing an exemplary marriage, but by speaking of a legendary teacher-disciple relationship, the famous bond between the Talmudic teacher, Rabbi Yochanan, and his very famous student, Reish Lakish. When the student died, Yochanan, the teacher, was overwhelmed with grief. And so another of his students went to console him. And that's when Rabbi Yochanan explained the nature of his partnership with his departed disciple. He said, whenever I stated a law, Reish Lakish, my student, used to raise 24 objections, to which I gave 24 answers, which consequently led to a fuller comprehension of the law. Said Reb Mordechai Yosef about this story, this is the decree of all creation, specifically that controversy creates unity. Now, we have all known many teachers, and if we all joined together to create a list of those who would appreciate a student who asked 24 questions about each and every new point the teacher made, I am confident that it would be a very, very short, non-existent list. But Yochanan saw the ezer, not just the kenegdo. He saw how the constant challenges from this infuriating student of his actually made him better. And so he learned that controversy creates unity. And he taught it to us as well. And please God, in our personal relationships, may controversy create unity in this grander world where there is so much controversy. May it create unity. Most of us have at least one Ezer Kenegdo, at least one helper over against us. Maybe you have more such people. Perhaps it is your spouse who knows exactly how to make you cringe at your weaknesses. Perhaps it is your child or your parent, the one who offers you too many painful reminders of who you wish you weren't or who you used to be. Maybe it's a work partner, someone whose skills and inclinations are different than yours, who can be great for business but hard on you. Maybe it's a longtime friend, someone who is just a little bit too much like you for your comfort. Whoever your Ezer Kenegdo is, that person or those people, they are hard work. You probably find yourself questioning from time to time if it's worth it. Where is the help? Where is the Ezer, you ask? And Reb Mordechai Yosef answers, controversy creates unity. It is a tough lesson, Adam and Eve's, one that gets harder each day we choose not to be alone. May their lesson be ours. Amen.
We now have an opportunity to take into our hearts those in our lives who are in need of healing, be it of body, of mind, and of spirit. And perhaps we can be more of that Ezer, that helper, and provide them comfort and support when they need it most. So we'll invite anybody who is sharing, would like to share a name of somebody that they're thinking of, to please share them out loud as we sing our prayer for healing.
My sister Elaine Matthew, our uncle Annie Coleman, and our friend Eddie Guy.
Thank you. We'll take all of those names into our hearts as together we join in our Mishaberach, the middle of page 253. Mishaberach Avoteinu Mekor habracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor habracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Aleinu can be found at the bottom of page 282. If you're able, please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 287.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד.
Some words to help us prepare for the recitation of Kaddish. Words not found in the prayer book, written by our temple's senior Rabbi Emeritus, Rabbi Sandy Reagans. Would that the people we love and need could be with us always, but that cannot be no matter how much we wish it so. Why is it this way? We do not know. We will never know. That is the central mystery of life. All we can do is cherish our loved ones until the time comes, as it must, when they are taken away from us. And then, like all the generations before, we must weep for those we have lost and carry on, sustained by the knowledge that something of their essence abides always with us as long as we live, giving us strength and courage, comfort and hope. As we prepare to recite the Kaddish prayer this evening, we remember especially our congregation's longtime organist, Shirley Patesky, wife of Sheldon Patesky, and Robert Naction, husband of Monica Naction, whom death has taken from us in recent days. And we link their names with Ben Altman, Jacob Berman, Marvin Harold Beers, Ira Daniel Deutsch, Sam Eckley, Paul Ewell, Herta Ewell, Dirk Henkel, Norma Fink Huffaker, Daniel Harmon Maccabee, Michael Radford Sr., Stephen Rivets, Warren Rose, Estelle Rosenthal, Randa Sale, Eleanor Segan, Benjamin B. Smith, Beatrice Stock, Sybil Stoller, Jerry Weissman, Thomas B. Windholes. If there are other names for us to include, please speak them aloud. Holding them all close in our heart, along with all those who we name in our hearts, and along with all those who have perished as innocent victims of violence in a world we must guide to peace. We say, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, the memory of the righteous is an everlasting blessing. As together we give thanks for the blessing of life with the words of Mourner's Kaddish found on page 294. If you're able, please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chai echon u'v'yom echon, u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach, le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yitalal, shemei dekudsha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushvechata v'nechemata, ta'amiram be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru, amen. May the giver of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved among us, and let us together say, Amen. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat shalom to you all. Shabbat shalom.